Welcome to Science Unpacked. I'm Mary.
And I'm Alex, and today we're tackling a topic that's pretty heavy.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah, we're going to talk about something nobody wants to think about: nuclear war. Specifically, what happens in the first 7 days, and more importantly, what the science says you should actually do to survive.
And we want to be super clear from the start. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's the opposite. It's about empowerment through knowledge. Because, knowing what to do in an unthinkable situation, that's a powerful thing.
Exactly. It's about replacing panic with a plan, a science-based plan. So let's unpack it. Day 0, the first hour. That's a great way to put it. Panic is the enemy in a crisis like this. A clear head and a basic understanding of the science can literally be the difference between life and death. And it's a topic that has unfortunately become more relevant in recent years. So we thought it was time to cut through the Hollywood myths and look at the actual data and recommendations from credible sources like FEMA and studies from national labs.
And it's a form of mental preparedness. We prepare for fires with smoke detectors, for car accidents with seatbelts. This is just another more extreme form of that. It's about having a mental toolkit. Before we dive into the timeline, let's quickly talk about the two main types of nuclear detonations, because it affects what happens next. You have an air burst and a ground burst.
And it's not just about having a physical toolkit, but a mental one too. The psychological impact of a disaster of this magnitude is immense. Being mentally prepared can help you stay calm and make rational decisions when it matters most. So the unthinkable happens. There's an alert, maybe you see an impossibly bright flash of light. The first rule, the absolute number one rule, is don't look at it and get inside instantly.
Absolutely. And that's really the core of what we want to do today. It's not about creating a blueprint for a post-apocalyptic movie. It's about practical, science-backed steps that could genuinely increase your chances of survival. It's about building resilience, not fear.
Right. An airburst is when the weapon detonates high up in the atmosphere. It's designed to maximize the area of the blast wave and thermal radiation. It's devastating, but it actually creates less radioactive fallout.
Right. Instantly. And not just any inside. You're looking for the most substantial structure you can find. Think a big concrete office building, a library, a school.
And the other type is a ground burst, right? That's the one that creates the most fallout.
A basement is ideal. Exactly. With a ground burst, the fireball touches the earth. It vaporizes soil, buildings, anything at ground zero, and sucks all of that debris up into the mushroom cloud. This material gets irradiated. It becomes intensely radioactive and then gets carried by the wind for hundreds of miles before it starts to fall back to Earth as fallout.
Ideal, but if you don't have one, the center of that large building is your next best bet. The more walls, the more concrete, the more stuff between you and the outside, the better. And stay far, far away from windows.
Yeah, windows are your worst enemy in that first minute. They'll be shattered by the blast wave, sending glass everywhere. So you're inside. What's next? You've got to think about contamination. And if you're in a car, you have to pull over immediately. A car offers almost no protection from the blast or the radiation. Get out and get into the nearest sturdy building. Don't even think about trying to outrun it. People might think it's just about the light, but the real danger is the blast wave. It travels slower than light, so you'll see the flash first, and then a few seconds later, this immense shockwave hits. It will turn every window for miles into a spray of deadly glass projectiles.
The fallout. It's this fine radioactive dust that will start settling soon after the blast. And it could be on you, on your clothes.
And we should also mention the other immediate threat, especially from an airburst, an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP. It's a powerful wave of energy that can instantly fry most modern electronics. It's completely silent and invisible, but its effects would be catastrophic. So you have to get rid of it. Take off your outer layer of clothing immediately. That alone can eliminate, 90% of the radioactive material? It's a huge step. Put it in a plastic bag and get it as far away from you as possible.
And then you need to wash. A shower is best with lots of soap and warm water, but don't scrub so hard you break the skin. You're just gently washing the particles off.
And here's a weirdly specific tip that's super important. Do not use hair conditioner.
Right. This is so counterintuitive, but it's crucial. Why is that, Alex?
Conditioners have compounds that bind things to your hair. They make it feel smooth and silky, but they'll also bind radioactive particles right to you, making them almost impossible to wash out. So just shampoo or soap, no conditioner.
Okay, so you're inside, you're clean. The temptation might be to get in your car and just drive. Get away.
The absolute worst thing you could do.
Exactly. Do not evacuate. The immediate danger after the blast isn't somewhere else. It's the fallout that is coming down right where you are. Your best bet is to stay put in the most secure shelter you can find and wait.
Which brings us to day 1. This is fallout peak. In the first 24 hours, the radiation levels outside are at their most intense. They are lethally high.
Yeah, this is the time when staying put is literally a life or death decision. You need to stay in that shelter for a minimum of 24 to 48 hours, no exceptions.
Right, and you want to make that shelter as secure as possible. If you can, seal up windows and vents. Use duct tape, plastic sheeting, whatever you have. You're trying to stop that fine dust from getting inside.
Okay, so you're sealed in. Now we're talking supplies. And the most important thing is water. You can only drink water that you know is safe.
Which means bottled water you had stored. At this stage, you can't trust the tap. The water system could be contaminated, broken. You just don't know. So only sealed, bottled water for that first day or two.
And you have to start rationing immediately, both food and water. You have no idea when you'll be able to get more. This isn't the time for a feast. Small sips, small portions. Make it last.
All right, so you've made it through the most intense 24 hours. The good news about day 2 is radioactive decay.
A little bit of physics hope.
Exactly. Radiation isn't a constant thing. It decays, and it does so exponentially, which means it drops off really, really fast at the beginning.
There's something called the 7/10 rule of thumb, right?
Yeah, it's a good general guide. For every 7-fold increase in time, the radiation level drops by about a factor of 10. So after 7 hours, it's down to about 10% of its initial level. After 2 days, which is about 49 hours, it's down to just 1%.
Wow, just 1%? So it drops off very quickly.
Very quickly, which means after that 48-hour mark, the outside world is significantly less dangerous. Still not safe, but less lethal.
So on day 2, you might be able to leave your shelter, but only if you absolutely have to, like for a critical reason.
Right. A medical emergency, or you're completely out of water. And if you do go out, you need to cover up. Long sleeves, gloves, a mask over your nose and mouth, anything to keep that dust off your skin and out of your lungs.
And you're avoiding any visible dust or ash on the ground, because that's literally it. That's the fallout. Don't touch it, don't kick it up, move quickly, do what you need to do, and get back inside.
By day 3, the immediate radiation threat has gone down a lot, but a new, longer-term problem is just beginning. Let's call it survival mode.
Right, because everything we take for granted is gone. There are no trucks delivering food to grocery stores. The supply chains are completely broken.
So now is the time to take a very serious inventory of what you have. Every can of soup, every granola bar, every bottle of water. You need to know exactly what you're working with and plan how to make it last.
And water becomes even more critical. Your bottled water might be running low, so what do?
Any water you find now has to be considered contaminated, so you have to purify it. The simplest way? Boiling. A rolling boil for at least 1 minute will kill most pathogens. You'll still need to be careful about chemical or radiological contaminants, but it's your best bet.
And socially, things get complicated. People are scared, desperate. It's probably best to avoid crowds and not travel unless you absolutely have to. Just stay low, stay quiet.
Moving into days 4 and 5, this is the infrastructure collapse phase. If the power grid wasn't down already, it almost certainly is now.
That means no lights, no refrigeration, no communications, except maybe a hand crank radio if you were prepared.
And think about medical access. It's just gone. There are no hospitals to go to, no 911 to call. A small cut could get infected and become a massive problem. So hygiene is suddenly a top-tier survival priority.
Totally. Keeping clean, keeping wounds clean, it's critical. And this is also when you have to start thinking about calories like a currency.
Yeah, you're not just eating for pleasure, you're eating for energy. You need to preserve as much energy as possible. That means resting, not taking on strenuous tasks unless necessary. Every calorie counts.
This whole phase is about avoiding unnecessary risks. Don't climb that ladder. Don't try to move something heavy by yourself. A sprained ankle isn't an inconvenience anymore. It's a potentially life-threatening liability.
It's a total shift in mindset.
And that brings us to day 6, which might be the hardest day yet, but for a different reason. We're talking about the psychological stress peak.
Oh, absolutely. The adrenaline has worn off, the shock has worn off, and now the reality of the situation, the sheer scale of it, really starts to set in.
Right. Anxiety, grief, despair, these are all going to be incredibly high. And in an information vacuum, rumors will spread like wildfire.
People will be saying anything. There's a safe zone over here, the army is coming, it's worse in the next town. Most of it will be wrong, and it can lead people to make really bad decisions.
So what's the defense against that?
Routine. As boring as it sounds, a daily routine is one of the most powerful psychological tools you have. Get up at the same time. Have designated times for tasks, checking supplies, purifying water, resting.
It creates a sense of normalcy, a sense of control, when everything outside is chaos.
Exactly. Focus on practical tasks. What can I do right now to make my situation 1% better? Reinforce a door? Organize the food? Anything to keep your mind occupied and productive. It's all about maintaining morale for yourself and for anyone you're with.
And that takes us to day 7, the end of the first week. And this is, well, it's a turning point. It's either the beginning of some kind of stabilization or
the beginning of a further escalation. You just don't know. The single most important thing at this point is to try and get reliable information.
This is where that emergency radio becomes the most valuable thing you own. You're listening for any official government guidance. Are there safe areas? Are there evacuation routes being set up?
And you have to follow that guidance. Do not try to relocate on your own based on a rumor. You could be walking from a relatively stable situation right into a much more dangerous one. Only move when and where official sources tell you it's safe to do so.
And you have to be mentally prepared for the long haul. A week is just the beginning. The disruption to everything will last for months or more likely years.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. And surviving that first week is just getting you to the starting line.
Wow, okay, that is a lot to take in, but it's so important.
If we can boil it down, the key takeaways for that first week are get inside, get clean, and stay put, especially for those first 48 hours.
Right. After that, it's about conserving resources, avoiding risks, managing your psychological state, and listening for reliable information. It's not about being a Hollywood action hero. It's about being patient and smart.
Thank you for listening to us unpack such a difficult but necessary topic. We hope you never ever have to use this information, but we believe knowing it is better than not.
Absolutely. Join us next time on Science Unpacked, where we'll be discussing something a little lighter, the incredible science of dog sneezes.
Until then, stay curious.